It is none other than Icon Radio, your number one entertainment player, gang out with me, Kevin Njoroge, on Mondays. For now, without further ado, let me introduce Lucy Githaiga. Thank you so much for being in the house with us today.
Thank you so much, Kangeve. I appreciate the opportunity to be, conversing around the issues of money mistakes.
Yes.
There are many.
There are many.
Many, my friend, many. I am sure even here around here, if I was to ask how many have made money mistakes, we are all guilty as charged.
I'm guilty. And I'm so glad that we are having this conversation. Money conversation is very hard to have. Breaks relationships, breaks friendships, and it's important. It's a very important.
Sends people into depression,
Sends people into depression.
Yeah.
Before we start that, who is Lucy?
Lucy is, let me say what I currently do, because, we all have different faces.
Yeah.
I am a coach. I'm actually a financial coach. I am a speaker. I am an author. And besides that, I have a family. I have been married to my sweetheart friend for the last 26 years. I am a grandmother of 2. I have 3 daughters. And above that, in the world of work, I also work in an NGO. I am a country director in an NGO, an international organization, where I have served for about 11 years, but I have had an illustrious career in the NGO sector for about 23 years. But in terms of money mistakes, which is the subject that we are discussing today, I have made those mistakes in the process of side hustles. When people are employed, they're always looking for, what can I do? And, so in the process, of course, we make mistakes. So, but I'm also the founder and director of the Academy of Women in Money.
Yes.
It's a new organization that I'm trying to support and help women. So what I do, and every day when I wake up, I ask myself, what is it that I can do to help women take charge of their financial future?
Women take charge
of their financial future.
Yeah.
Of course, I also have men who follow me on my social media pages.
Yes.
It just goes by the name Lucy Githaiga. You go on Facebook, you'll find me there.
Yeah.
So that's every day I ask myself, what can I share? What is this that I can share that helps people to find, to locate themselves in the money mistakes, but also to get themselves out of those money mistakes.
Yes, that's amazing. And we can go straight to how did this idea of talking about money come from? Is it because you went through something and you came out strong?
Kangeve, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
I'm ready.
Let me tell you, Kangeve. Yes, I got into this space of talking about money because I found myself in a space where I had done so many many mistakes.
Yeah.
In fact, I tell people, if you go to my social media, I tell people I have had a Damascus moment on my 47th birthday. Damascus moment. When Paul was going to do persecution and then voila, some Damascus came about him, as he was going to Damascus.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. I celebrated my 47th birthday on a day like any other. Had a lot of, my family surrounding me, giving me gifts and all that.
Yeah.
And I have this practice where I sit in the evening to just do meditation, reflect on the day, ask how was the day. And so this moment, I was doing that meditation, and then I said, before I do meditation, since today is my 47th birthday, let me take a pen and paper and just do a reflection. It was around 10:30 p.m. I didn't arise from that seat. It's a blue seat. I didn't arise from that seat until 7 a.m. the following morning.
Hold up, from 10:30 p.m.
From 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m., I didn't wake up from that seat. I was thinking.
What were you thinking about?
My friend, money. Hey. And I was thinking about all the mistakes I it kind of dawned on me that I am here, 47. When I look back, when I look forward, I'm like,
what happened?
Who are you? Who am I?
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
And it was a culmination of things that I had done for about 5 years that got me there. I always say that if at that moment, if I had lost my job at that moment, my children would not have had food to eat, for sure, for real. I mean, as in, okay, of course my husband has a job and all that, but I mean, the responsibilities that I have in the family, I wouldn't have been able to fulfill them.
Yes.
I would simply have slid into a dangerous path because I had no savings, I had no investments. I mean, I was eating life.
Yeah, with a big spoon.
With a big spoon in the sense of putting money in businesses that didn't work.
Okay.
For a series of 5 years. Actually, as a matter of fact, from around June of 2016 all the way to now September of 2020, because that was when I celebrated my 47th.
Yes.
And it had been a series of putting money in one business after another. I have done so many things in terms of businesses that have all not worked.
Which sectors?
Kanyede, you want a count? Watch, let me count for you. First, I was a hawker in the streets of Nairobi.
No way.
In my early years, of course, everybody goes through, the side hustle.
Mine was GNLD.
You were in I also did GNLD, but I went for the training and then decided this is not for me. Yeah, but I was a hawker. I was hawking mandazi and tea along Ruthuri Avenue. Those shops of the people who do printing, photocopying.
Yes.
You go there. Mama man, I used to be called Mama Chai. So I would do that. I also did hawking of yogurt. So that was, of course, in the early years, and everybody has something that they do in their early years.
Yes.
But then I also had a stint with machuma. Welding. I was aware of that at some point. I have done bakery. The reason why I'm counting all these things is so that you see where, how
you were everywhere.
How everywhere I was.
Yes.
So bakery.
Yes.
Never mind that I have no idea how to mix flour. I don't even know. By the way, I can't cook nothing. I hate cooking, so I don't know how to do flour.
So how are you doing it?
It was business. I wanted money, So I had a bakery. In fact, I went and even constructed a whole 3 rooms for a bakery. So I had a bakery, didn't work. I had welding. If I tell you the story of the welding, I went to Gikomba with a friend of mine. Then we went, I don't know, KCC. Then we saw a German guy who was coiring machuma like this. Hey, machuma. Sasa, this machuma, it was so fascinating. So my friend told me, hey, this thing, we can do business. I said, yeah, why not? Voila.
You went into welding.
Business, mara hiyo, nunua kitu. It was what? It was a 300k machine that was coiling chumas. By the way, do you know, we bought that German machine only to discover that actually if you go along Gong Road, those guys who do those things of grills and what have you, they coil it with kachuma
with hands.
With the 300k down the drain. Aya, nikatoka huko kwa welding. Then I did what else? I went into gemstones. Gemstones.
Yes, gemstones.
Precious stones. I did precious stones, then kidogo with precious stones. Nikasemekana, no, we need to do rings and sijui a value word. Dio mimi huyo gold mining.
But I what excites me about this is how you were waking up very quickly.
Haraka. There is no wasting time.
Kuoga kurudi soko.
Quickly. So, dio mimi huyo Kakamega gold mining. Migodi. I would get into the bus, the easy coach bus on the night of on Friday night. Chwa Kakamega, I would land at 4 a.m. Go pick the mangunia. I was with my nephew. He was the one who was on site. So I was doing gold mining, my friend. Gold. Yani gold.
You were mining gold.
I have held gold with my hands.
Yes.
In fact, during that season, I even became the chair of the women in mining in Kenya. Hata tukaenda kuona Uhuru Kenyatta. Me as the head of delegation, going to see the president.
That one looks like it was lucrative.
Where? Lucrative, my friend, lucrative. My husband tells me you went, dug a hole, buried the money, then came back to Nairobi. Anyway, came back to Nairobi after burying the money in the holes. And then I got into Forex.
Wow.
Hey, please, got into Forex.
I want your heart. I definitely want your heart.
I got into Forex, where that one almost took me to prison. I had to write a book lest I forget.
Yes.
This book, The Unbeatable Spirit.
Yes.
Because I went through a season of a business that I did not understand. In fact, those are some of the mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
I went into a business with a partner who I didn't understand, who I didn't know that was a con. So of course we ended up losing money.
Yeah.
Not only me, but I also brought in others who lost money. As a matter of fact, the people who invested in the business lost about 11 million in a season of about 3 months.
Oh.
Yes, so forex. Sasa mimi nikasema this forex thing, if this guy knows how to do this forex, even I can do.
Yes.
Dubai. Quickly. Get a loan, fly to Dubai. I flew. To Dubai to go and learn forex. I went, I sat in the class, graphs like this. I came back. I started doing trading. My goodness, I lost like crazy. I would sell land. It is measured. I mean, my computer, it was a hole. It would just swallow. Of course, I was a bad trader. I mean, I don't demonize forex because there are people who
make money.
Who live off forex for sure, and it's a genuine trade. It's not like it's bad or anything, but it's just the way I was doing it. I was just a bad risk.
Yes.
My risks were terrible. From there, mpaka kitu ingine inaitwa online. Not yet. Online. Online work. My daughter and my son-in-law are doing these things that you see young people doing online. Those do their writings,
article writing.
Those ones. Those do their transcribing. They are captioning. Hey, there is money. Okay, quickly get in. Hey, my friend, got in, burnt my figures as usual. Until I was like, now, hey, this journey has to stop now. I have to get back to my senses. But by the way, in the course of all those milima na mabonde of trying different things to do, I counted and I had lost about 15 million in that season.
Oh.
In terms of putting money, and in fact probably more, because you're putting money in things that you don't quite understand.
Yes.
And that was of course a big mistake. So then I sat on that blue chair on that 47th birthday from 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I woke up. My brother, I woke up. And when I woke up, I was like, now, let me now stop all these things. Let me now focus. First of all, because I tell women and I tell people, even men, that, people say that, don't put the biological clock on me. By the way, when it comes to money,
there's a biological clock.
There's a biological clock. You know why?
Yeah.
Biological clock in the sense that as you advance in age, you have more responsibilities. You have children who are going to college. You have children who are going to high school. There's all these responsibilities that come at a certain age. And I can tell you, people who are listening to me today, if they are honest, people who are in their 40s and they did not plan their money or they went through manenos of mistakes, I'm telling you, they are not sleeping. Hawalali, those guys, my friend, the ones who are approaching 50, those ones, the majamaa were 45, 47, hey, like me now, those days, watu wama 52 hapa, wanaona, guy, things are tough, and maybe they have done things in their lives, either things that didn't work, or they didn't do anything. In fact, as a matter of fact, one of the money mistakes is you work, either in business, maybe you're in a biashara, or maybe you're employed, you are eating life with a big spoon. Then, kidogo, you wake up one day, like me that day I woke up on my 47th, the Damascus, you realize, Allah, I have either done nothing or done very little. That is called doing nothing or doing very little financial mistakes. That's a serious money mistake. And I can tell you, many Kenyans, hawa majamaa unasikia wanaitangwa middle class.
Yes.
Those fellows, one day they will wake up and realize, Allah, what just happened?
Yeah.
What really just happened?
Yeah.
It's a big tragedy in our lives.
Yeah.
And so you have, and if you study very well, you will find that there are people who then they did life. They look like they were doing well in their 40s, in their 30s.
Yeah.
Wait until they get into their 50s. Wait until they get into their 60s. That is when they begin to blame their children that, even hata hani support. So it becomes, a serious challenge because they did nothing or they did very little. that's a serious financial mistake, and I would urge anyone that is listening here,
Yes.
please don't fall into that trap. If you have been there,
Yeah.
and I'm sure if I was to ask all of us here in studio,
Yes.
if I was to ask, Kang'ethe, how much have you earned since you started earning?
A lot.
A lot.
In fact,
so now,
the other time I was looking at my M-Pesa statement since I joined M-Pesa, it was a shocker. Like, I was like, how have I millions
So
have
Kang'ethe,
transacted?
if I ask you, okay, to put the money, you know, you sort of track all the money that you have earned, weke kwa ratiri, you know, what I have earned vis-a-vis what I have done, my friend. I can tell you for a fact, for many people, perhaps even 90% of people listening to us today, they'll be like, what happened? It's a tragedy for many of us.
I can see people now have tears in the studio when they think about the mistakes they've done. What are some of the mistakes SMEs or startups make, especially when they're coming out, when they're starting? So the first one I'm going to talk about right now is not having an efficient and constructive strategy. Yeah. So you just have the destination, you've arrived at the destination, but you have not mapped out the realistic and cohesive strategy on how you're going to get there. So you have your destination. How are you going to get there if you do not have an efficient and constructive strategy? I know many people, when they're starting a business, they always say, tutajulia mbele, you know, but and of course businesses go changing with time, but if you don't have a constructive strategy, if you do not know exactly who your target audience is, if you don't know exactly what you're selling, how you're selling it, you're definitely going to go down. And that's some of the mistakes I had Lucy talk about when she was talking about some of the things she went through when, you know, shit hit the fan. And we go back to the story. Those were more than 10 companies that you, or you know, ventures you have been in those 5 years, the ones that you've just said.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, no, for some of them were prior to the 5 years.
Yeah,
I think the 5 years has been you know, it started off with, for the 5 years it's more of the gemstones, the forex, the online, and you know, those were the main ones in the 5 years. But of course I have had the others that have been there.
Yeah.
But you said something very important about not having a constructive strategy, and I think that was one of the things that I mean, it was always about hii kitu iko na pesa, twende.
Yes.
You will not, in fact, one of the things that I learned is please ask questions.
Yes.
I mean, so there was no constructive strategy, as you have said. So you don't map out what it is that you know, your steps. And I know in entrepreneurship sometimes you may not have the clear picture. You may not have the full picture, but surely there must be some semblance of a picture of how you're going and how you're moving, so that you are able to then say, okay, it looks like here things are not working, so how do I retrace, or how do I manage the risks? And for me, that was it. I mean, I'll tell you, like for example, when I was doing the forex business, where we had created this fund, the issue was that we were trusting the gentleman who was doing everything for us, not asking any questions, not asking what the risks are, until much later, after you have lost. You know, after you have gone in and lost, that's when you're realizing, I should have asked. I should have asked all the questions, so that then I can be able to find out what needs to happen. So yeah, I mean, it's what happens. When I was picking my bags, I mean, when I was, you know, going to Kakamega, my friend, I was just told, here, mama, kuna gold. Hapa, mama, gold iko. Chimba, in fact, I was even told, you don't even need a lot of money.
Yes.
It's only 250K. Let our excavator, we dig, and we are into money, we are into gold.
Yeah.
I never asked, okay, how come, if it is just that cheap,
so many people would
have been there anyway. I mean, not those questions never came. So the desire and the ambition to want to hit it big, obviously gets many people into business.
I remember mine. I remember one of my major mistakes in business is opening up Wines and Spades. And I was very excited. I was young. I'd just been employed. I'm like, hey, I'm getting this salon. I can do something with my side hustle. And so I had an idea of following my passion and doing something in that area. But I talked to some friends who were like, Kangata, you need something that will give you cash every day so that you're able to do what? To sustain your passion, your other passion. I was into music. And so I was like, okay, so when the speed works, yeah, you go buy stock, sell. I had no idea where to buy, how to do it, and I just got in. It was the 1 year of stress.
Machos.
Yeah.
Machos.
And then I didn't know that you literally had to be there because now I was working, so I was coming in the evening. You have no idea what has happened through the day. You have no idea, and of course I learned. And now I learned how to do it. But those are the mistakes. I got into a lot of debt because Killer Son is refinancing the business, and you're wondering, okay. So I also got into that moment. I was like, okay, where is this going?
Talking of debt, that's another mistake. You know, the crisis of debt, because of course there is good debt and there is bad debt. And of course there are different schools of thought. There is one school of thought that says avoid debt, run, Morife, run, don't even hear anything debt. But there are others who say, you know what, I mean, debt is good, you know. But of course, depending on which school you align to, you have to still appreciate what is good debt and what is bad debt. Now, good debt is if you're taking debt to finance something that you know, can repay itself. That's good debt. I mean, it's repaying itself. Or if it is if you're financing it and it will capitalize into an asset that can then continue to grow and develop, then yeah. But what crisis are we having of debt today? We are having a crisis of debt, of consumerism debt. So people are taking money, taking loans to consume. Right? So you fall into a crisis of debt to consume. Hey, buy that big moti, buy that big TV, buy that, you know. So you end up falling into a crisis of debt, not because whatever it is that you're directing the debt to is
bringing back the money.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I was a victim. Yes, I was taking on debt to finance forex, and remember I was a risky trader, so I was just trading. Ikipotea naenda nachukua ingine. By the way, I used to even borrow from Mshwari, borrow from my bank. I was a good candidate there, a good customer. When the bank is not giving me quickly, I even opened up a credit line with another, you know, these ones that charge you 5% per month. Those ones, you know. So you have debt all over the place. And I know we are talking to entrepreneurs here. Even for entrepreneurs, I mean, sometimes you find that they fall into a crisis of debt because anyway, what happens? They can go to the bank and show, I have a business, I can show the inflow, I can show the outflow. So the business becomes the, you know, your collateral for taking the debt. But for the most part, even when you take that debt, some business people will not plug in that money into the business to grow the business. They will take the money and go and divert it into some other things, you know, and then COVID happens. Boom. Or something else happens, or you know, biashara is not doing well, and so you find yourself stuck in a debt crisis because then you didn't quite manage your debt properly. I mean, I always say that if you have to take debt, then please be sure that you can pay the debt anyway. Not and I always say that hope is not a strategy. You know, sometimes we go into things and we are like, I hope it will work. Hope is not a strategy, my friend. It's not. I mean, let's just kill it. Let's be real. Hope is not a strategy, and we will go to church and be told have hope. Good. Lakini when it comes to biashara, my friend, hope, hapana. It can't be hope. It's about,
is this gonna work or not?
Yes, and it's about 4 things. One, I need to get the customers. Because inevitably, every business is about sales. You're selling something. You're selling a service. You're selling a product. Right? So if you're selling a service or a product, clearly you must ask yourself, how am I going to get people to buy this thing? You have to crack your head about it. You can't stand there like a post at this way. Where? Sales. Man, sales. It's not hope. I hope they will buy. Where? What? No, you still have to crack your brain to ask, how will they buy? So that you get the customer. Getting that customer.
Do they actually want this product that you're producing?
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot that happens before even you decide which is the product and which is the service and all that. But even assuming you have done all that research and everything and you're clear that this product is needed, you still have to crack your brain about how do I get these customers? how do I retain them?
The strategy.
You know? And how do I
strategy.
keep making different offers so that then they can, I can continue to keep them and offer whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like those of us who are in the online business, because we are in the online business.
Yes.
And all the, and in fact, I say that the online business now is the new rentals. Weka mutandao wako hapo, it is the thing that is going to give you, it's a new rental. I mean, how many people can afford to build things? And very few. And that's why you're seeing even young people who are coming out of school and, they just, today I saw someone who was saying, it was a post, I think, on one of the groups. It was saying that, I am tired. I have thrown off all these degrees. I have thrown off all these certificates. I just want somebody to help me buy a camera and I don't know what. And I start this thing, Yeah. So, I mean, we have to still open up our minds to asking, what else can we do?
Yeah.
But the mistakes are there. The mistakes are many.
You talked about debt, and yes. I like what you're saying, that most people consume, they use debt for consumption. Yes.
And that is a crisis of the middle class.
And what is going on now is that there's a lot of buy now, pay later.
The crisis of the credit card.
And companies are, really investing hard in having those buy now, pay later products. So now you can get your plasma screen, you can get your what, and pay pole.
Now,
consume now.
Consume now and pay later. My friend, consume now and pay later. That's a crisis for sure. And you see, again, it is the other crisis of you live YOLO. What actually foils the debt crisis for consumerism is this thing we call YOLO and Club Me Too.
Yeah.
Because there is this thing of, you go, you find your friend, you go and visit a friend, you find they have bought something, you want to acquire the same thing.
Yes.
You don't have the money, it wasn't in your plan. But why? I mean,
because you've seen your friend has it.
Because you have seen your friend has it.
Then there's Then there's Instagram, Facebook, and
everybody's
wanting
showing us
to
all
look
this,
amazing.
So of course,
Dubai
it wasn't in your plan.
Yeah.
You don't even have the capacity to acquire it. But because there is debt, why not get it and then you can post all the photos on social media for us to see that you have it anyway. But in the end, when you go to sleep, you're Nideni.
Yeah.
My friend, you're Nideni. So and in the process, you're not building wealth. You are basically doing things to just consume. And let me tell you, I told you, whether you like it or not, and I know some people will hate me for this, it's fine. There is a clock. Hii kitu tunaitaka biological clock kwa pesa iko, my friend, iko.
So you can only make so much
my friend,
at a certain age.
Not even that. I mean, you could still, the issue is, don't waste your years when you're younger. Don't waste your years when you're younger trying to do all these things and not putting money in things that can. When I post things on social media, I think we'll be talking about it next week on Monday.
Yes.
The 4 M's of money.
Yeah.
I keep talking about a maternity. Send your money to a maternity. We'll talk about it that day. But today, what I'm saying is that the Club YOLO, you live only once. So you hear your friends shouting, oh, you live only once, and woo, you live only once. Who told you live only once? People who live only once got out of their mother's womb and died. Those are the people who lived only once. But clearly, we are here. I am here. 49 years. How is it that I am living only once? How now? How? You live only once. How? You have a whole life ahead of you. So now, you live only once. I'm like, what do they mean when they say that you live only once? I mean, we should be dead if you have lived only once.
Yes.
But you have a whole time, and God giving you years and God blessing you with time. You have a whole life ahead of you. And by the way, it is not wrong to enjoy, but plan for your enjoyment.
Plan
it. Okay. Don't just, you live only once. Club Me Too. Kwanza sisi wa mama, you go to a house, you find, those days we used to have those mawall units. Zimejaa glass. Wine glass. Hata kwako hakukunywangu wine. Zimejaa vijiko. Ile sijui wapi, ile muzito hivi, iko imepangwa sijui ya wageni, sijui ya nini. No mgeni comes there. So you have just locked money in some vyombos.
Things that are not helping you.
In some glasses and in some vyombos. And today life is so easy. If you have visitors, call a fellow who comes with the utensils. We are mao marketers. They come with the utensils, they panga them.
Yes.
They eat, and then he goes away with their utensils. I mean, it's about where are we putting money. I mean, I think as a society we are putting money a lot in things that really don't give us back the value. There's a lot of putting money in things that don't give us back the value.
All right.
Kabisa, money mistakes. And let me tell you, today I am 49, Kangede. You know, people who are in their 20s, people who are in their 30s are listening to me. Wacha too. Let me tell you, wait until they sit on their seat, on their blue seat or their red seat or their yellow seat,
on their
47th. That is when they will know what it means. Ikitu tunaitaga kujipanga.
Yes.
You know, you have to jipanga.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so maneno ya kujipanga, it is important.
It is important.
And you know, Kangede, for me, why I was feeling so sad about myself, and you said something in the beginning around forgive yourself.
Yes.
I had to actually forgive myself, because unless you forgive yourself, it's very difficult to sort of move ahead. And that is why, by the way, you hear watu wa mafefte sizi majamaa ndio hao high blood pressure imekonda it lands and lands big. Oh, diabetes. Because why? Because you're so depressed and stressed, you binge eat. You eat anything and everything available. Because why? You know, food is soothing you and soothing the stress that you have, that for the things that you didn't plan and for the things that
makes
you
feel
do.
like
these things of doing very retro, yes. very retro or nothing. You're like, oh, you know what? You live on the ones, might as well just eat. You know.
Yeah.
So it's.
I'm not going to make it out alive anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
I've heard that a lot of people say
that. I mean, so that's it. And of course many other mistakes of relationships.
Yeah.
There's financial mistakes related to relationships. That one is big in this country and in other places.
What do you mean?
Where hiyo inaitwa laugh. Money and laugh. Eh?
Yeah.
Money and love. I mean, in terms of we I call it the relationship money mistake. What do we know today? We know of fellows called side chicks. We know of fellows called bentens. Right? We know that usually if it is you have to finance that thing, you have to keep the thing that keeps it going is money, my friend. It doesn't just go with babe, I love you. No. That one doesn't work.
All right,
it has to have kwacha, it has to have money, it has to be, and it is a hole that can never be filled, my friend.
This is Money Mondays, and today I'm seeing very angry people. They're being told the truth. We're talking about money mistakes. I have Lucy Githaiga here, letting us know what are some of the mistakes we've been making and how do we remedy them. But today we told ourselves we are forgiving ourselves. Yes, we are starting on a new place. We have also been discussing some of the 5 common mistakes every starter makes. This is courtesy of Forbes magazine, and they first of all said you don't have an efficient and constructive strategy. The second one is you only follow your guts and you don't listen to your customers. And I loved when we said here, hope is not
a strategy.
Sustainable.
It's not a strategy.
Yes. So according to Forbes, in fact, 42% of startups fail because they didn't solve a market need. 42%. That's a huge number.
Absolutely.
Why are they not solving a need? So yes, you can get an idea, but an idea backed with market research is, boom. That's how you're gonna make it. Learn to pivot your gut feeling is not always right. Your gut feeling cannot always be right. Sometimes a gut feeling is right.
There's gut feeling, yes, which has its place somewhere. But at the end of the day, it's really about, do customers need this thing or they don't need it? Even if your gut tells you they need it and then they don't. I mean, clearly they don't.
And I've met very rigid entrepreneurs who are, this idea must work.
My gut tells me.
I'm in PR and communication. So a client will come and say, I have this great idea. I think it's a market need. I want the money, of course, and they want probably publicity and stuff, but I can see there is something missing in this.
You see,
there is something missing.
You see, it's about, and for people who are on the online space, for example, it's about, you see, if you're passionate about something, it is you who is passionate about it. Please, is it needed in the marketplace?
Yeah.
Because you could be passionate about something, you love it, but is it needed in the marketplace? I mean, for example, if I was in the cooking sector, I love crabs,
Yeah.
I love. Is it okay? So you are passionate about crabs and vitu ya seafood.
Yeah. Yes.
Now go to Grogon, put your seafood there.
Who will buy?
So you're passionate.
Yeah.
Kabisa, you're very, very passionate.
Yeah.
So really, I think it's really about you can have passion for whatever it is that you're doing, but does it align with the need in the market?
Yes.
So that alignment has to be there. And even if your gut tells you it is possible, it will take, it has to align. There has to be a ready customer. You have to be serving a need. Business is about serving a need.
Yeah. One of my biggest speakers on the show once said that most entrepreneurs are funding an expensive hobby.
Yes. Hobby.
Yes. I was like, yeah. So, you're finding a hobby because you have no idea whether people want this product. You're still putting it out there. It's not working, but you're still putting out different strategies for it to work.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's go back to our conversation, and we were on our third, I think, money mistake, and you talked about relationships.
Actually, it's the fourth. Remember, we talked about doing nothing or doing very little.
Yes.
Club YOLO.
Yes.
Club Me Too.
Yes.
Now we are on relationships.
Yes.
And in relationships, of course, it's varied because there's the relationships with the significant other.
Yeah.
And here the significant other is what I'm saying. If the relationship is of course based upon that the relationship only works because there is some money that is fueling it, clearly that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Then it's a mistake, and that's what I was saying. A lot of men have gone astray and they have really been ripped off by the side chicks.
Yeah.
A lot of women have also been ripped off by younger men.
Yeah.
Whatever, these days I hear they are called Ben-10s and what have you.
Yeah.
So you will find that people who are either in business or even who are in employment, they are using their resources to fund and fund this relationship. And it's a whole. It never gets full. Ever. It never gets full. So that's one mistake. That's one money mistake that is connected to love, and romantic love for that matter. Of course, there is also another mistake that is related to relationships. Our families, the black tax, that one, where everybody is calling you right, left, and center. They expect that you are the savior, And I keep saying that it is not wrong to support relatives and people who are close to you, but please don't give them the fish. Give them the fish rod. Let them fish for themselves.
Yes.
Because everybody, unless of course they don't have the capacity, mental,
capacity to do
strength and what have you to do it, in which case they are completely dependent. But surely, what when they have ahead, they have
gone to school.
They have bought, even if they have not gone to school,
yes.
even if they have not gone to school, they can cut melon and sell.
Yes.
No, that doesn't need any school, does it?
It doesn't.
No, it just needs a clear bucket.
Yeah.
A knife, and melon. No school.
Yeah.
No school needed whatsoever. So really, it's really about how are we training our people in terms of supporting them, so that it's not just you become completely what is it called, trapped, and they guilt trip you. Alienda Nairobi tulimsomesha hata hawezi kutusaidia, all that. So you are forever feeling that
a hole that never fills. Yeah.
I do not advocate for not supporting your relatives. Support them, but please help them to help themselves.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story. The other day, just is it last year, I got a call from my sister. She had been involved in an accident, and so I was called. So Nakuru, Brabra, went to hospital, and I had been singing the song of NHIF, but she will not do NHIF.
Listen,
so what happens? I have to cough money to pay the hospital bill because NHIF not paid. And yet, if there was a nest, if NHIF was paid, I would have saved. But that notwithstanding, after supporting her and helping her to get back on her feet, I asked her, hey, so now I've paid rent for you for 3 months. I have bought food for you for 3 months. Ebu zunguka your town, you tell me what it is that you can do.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you can do. Zunguka, come tell me.
Yeah.
Then I help you to be able to establish a business so that you can stand on your feet.
Yes.
Otherwise, I can't say, oh, now she's my sister. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't work that way. And so for many people, they get into the trap of, families that really sort of they'll drain you completely. They'll drain you, and you're not able to say no. You're not able to say how these things. You have to. No is a complete sentence with a full stop. No, full stop. It's a sentence. But then you can just write a sentence that says no, full stop.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something around the relationships as well. But there's a way in which then you can find a way of still supporting, but ensuring that you're not building dependence.
Yeah.
That you're supporting them in a way that they can sustain themselves. Of course, I'm telling you, there is another one called friends. You become a banker for your friends, a floating bank, a bank free interest, a free interest bank. So if people know that Kangeda is always having money.
Yeah.
If they have any problems in the office here, wherever, Kangeda, Aki, I'm stuck.
Send me this.
Kindly, please, could you please M-Pesa me 2K?
Yeah.
You M-Pesa. Kidogo, another one, James. Hello, Kangeda, Aki, I'm stuck. So you become a bank. You're lending people money, interest free. So and friends, some are not even and it's back. Because people know that you have money floating around. Yeah, because your money is not directed. I always say that you should be the master of your money.
Yeah.
And money is a faithful servant. You tell it go, it will go. It just needs to know where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're not sending money, if you're not becoming a good master of your money, money can be a good master. It will tell you where to go. It will tell you, go to Club YOLO, they are there. Go to Club Me Too, they are there. I mean, you have to rise up and be the master of your money and tell it where it go. It's an obedient servant. It will obey.
Money is an obedient servant.
It is an obedient servant. It obeys when you tell it. But if you just allow it to rega around, my friend, it will rega. It will just stay around, wait for James to borrow, wait for who else to so friends and some, for the most part, your friends will not even repay what they have borrowed you. And then relationship inakatika, hata hakuongeleshi, simu hachukui, sasa ni kinamna gani sasa, you see. I mean, it's friends. Now the other thing that I speak to women about is this thing of losing voice. You work or you have a business, you go get a facility, get a loan. You want to buy a mgoda, a broti maguta. Your name is not even going to appear on the broti because you have no voice. Yani huwezi sema ikitu ni lazima jina yangu ikue hapo. It is all around the relationships and the money mistakes. And we have had women who I have, friends, people who I have, because I coach and I have a lot of women that I speak to. People tell you horror stories of how they went through processes of, yes, they were earning the money, then mujama anatoroka. Azina anatoroka tu, ukiamuka hauna kitu, but you are earning and you are putting money somewhere in the because you have no voice. You have lost voice as a woman. And even for men, there are men who also lose their voice. I mean, it's two-way. Although for the most part, it is women who have lost a lot of their voice. So all those are mistakes that happen in relationships. I mean, you are in business with somebody, partnerships in businesses, know. And for me, that is one of the mistakes that I suffered, because I get into partnership with somebody I don't know. I get into partnership with somebody who I cannot question. So unafikiria guy nikimuuliza si atakasirika si sasa biashara itafurusika that's exactly what I found myself in, because I was in a business with, first of all, a business that I didn't understand. And because it's a business I didn't understand, my so-called partner is the one who understands. So my role, and especially those guys, those of us who are in employment, we know what we are normally told. You bring the capital, then the other fellow will commit
do the
time.
work.
Where? Hapo machos, because you're only giving the money, and they're giving up the time, and because you're not there, like you're saying, your wise spirit, you're not there.
I wasn't
so
there.
They're the ones who are the experts. They know A to Z about everything. So really, they will. I mean, if you get into business with the wrong partners, you will cry machos. You will cry.
But talk about money mistakes that we've made, and we've been having our money expert Lucy Githaiga telling us more about what we need to do and some of the things that we are doing that are affecting our money problems. And also on the other side, we've been talking about some of the things startups are also doing to startups are the mistakes also startups are do when they're starting. And we talked about one, not having a clear strategy. The second one was about only following your gut and not listening to your customers and not doing market research, getting to know whether what you're doing is right. The third one is you underestimate the amount of capital you really need. So before you start, get your finances in order. Don't kid yourself that you can't. Don't be optimistic. And we've been told today, and that's what I was laughing about. Was I knew some of this place we will talk about. Like, don't be too optimistic and not say the real deal. Figure out exactly how much money you need. Consider the number of months you will be able to operate before you run out of money. It's very important to know what to how that will look like. Get enough to make it through the burn, because of course when you're starting a business the burn is always low. We never know whether you're going to make money tomorrow or the next day, so you need to be very careful. We don't know whether the business will pick up in 2 months or a year, so you always have to be very specific, and that's why you need to learn and know more about your business before you get into it. Let's go back to other money mistakes that we've been discussing with Lucy. I've really enjoyed that one for relationships and the black tax. Very interesting vibes. Probably you can continue with
yes more. You've just talked about the mistakes that startups make. I think we can sort of roll on the mistakes that people make when they're in business.
Yes.
And I think doing business that you have no clue about, you have no clue completely, as in you don't know nothing. You just had an idea, you had it works. Like the one I was telling you, I went to some place in KICC, saw a German fellow doing things, and boom, I dipped my feet.
Yeah.
So the gold mining thing, I mean, just going your way to do things that you have no clue, you don't understand, and you don't also take time to understand and to learn. You just dip your feet. That's one. I mean, not doing your due diligence and chasing wind. I mean, for example, if you ask me how I went into Kakamega and just being told here is a hole, there is gold here, I should have done a bit of due diligence to know that surely things don't work like that. The same thing with my time in forex. Things don't work like that. So you've got to do your due diligence. As a matter of fact, if I had done my due diligence when I was getting into this forex thing, I would never have gone into partnership with the dude, because he was a con. So not doing your due diligence and just rushing. I mean, you went and somebody told you this is a good idea, and boom boom boom, you ran.
Let's go.
I mean, and working with the wrong business partners.
Yes.
Because you're in a hurry to execute, so you don't even know this fellow. You have no idea what their values are. You have no idea what their money management is. You don't know. I mean, you're just there. You just like this guy who the so-called co-director of mine. I mean, he would take us to big hotels. Kampiski, you happy, whatever, and of course you are using your money to support those things. So but it kind of puts you on a high, so what kind of partners are you who is your partner in the business? And then running after every business idea in town. You have had my mysteries. You've had my list. For me, it was really about this business idea. It works, go. It works, go. I mean, so you listen and you hear, and we have a lot. I mean, if people in this town were to tell you stories, they have really been they've really been lost money because of all these things of running after. In fact, in my writing, I call it shiny objects. And I tell people, shiny objects, morive run, kabisa, because those shiny objects will, they'll put you in some mess. Not educating yourself on risk management. I mean, every business has its own risks, and so you have to understand what is the breadth of the risks that are involved in this business. A lot of times we go into business without an appreciation of those risks. So if you are not clear about the risks, how then can you manage those risks? When they come, it knocks you off because you did not sit to really and I'm not saying that you get into a paralysis of analysis, but just be aware of some of the main risks. For example, I mean, like when I was doing this Kakamega thing, I mean, one of the risks that would have, I mean, was crazy was you're digging things and a road collapses. Yani barabara imecollapse.
Yeah.
Hey, please, imecollapse barabara. Do you know what it means to make a road to get back a road to its so you now have to, I don't know, go to the county government, I don't know, the community to do what is a risk, you know. You have risk of people who you're working with going into those mahos and dying. What if the fellow dies? What happens? I mean, those are things you have not really thought about.
Yeah.
You just boom went in.
Yeah.
You know, the risk in our forex business, the risk of that money could be lost. What is going to happen? You know, if some certain things are not right, a system can collapse, for example. So what really happens? So an appreciation of the risk and being able to be clear about how to manage those risks. Now, we talked earlier about doing business that matches your skills.
Yes.
I mean, I think there are a lot of theories around this. There are those who say, just do the business. I mean, it doesn't have to match with your skills. Quali, what the hell?
Yeah.
Just do. If you're going to sell plastics, just go sell those damn plastics or whatever it is. Of course, it's different for different people. There are those who will thrive because they're doing a business that really matches their skills, matches their passion, matches their purpose, you know, this purpose thing.
Yes.
Like for me, I love, you can tell, I love talking about money.
Yes.
So if I am doing a business related to, coaching people talking around money, I love it. I will thrive. I can tell you, I will thrive for sure.
Yes.
Because it matches with, I mean, if this is what I had been doing, as opposed to all these things that I was engaged in and, putting money in things that were not matching my skills, I wouldn't have lost what I have lost.
Yes.
I would have invested in myself.
Yes.
I would have invested in knowledge.
Yes.
And then I would have established a business that matches my skill. So I think it still has its place in terms of establishing a business that matches your skills, matches your passion, matches your interest, because the minute it is not of interest to you, the minute you get a small challenge, you run. And you have already put in money.
Yes.
You see, so it does have its place.
Yeah.
Not doing the math and cutting your losses early. Just cutting your losses early. It's not working. It's not working. Hello.
Like for me, it took me a whole year for me to discover.
Yeah.
And I got into a lot
Because sometimes you might be trying a business, maybe because you haven't done that research that we were talking about. Maybe whatever line of product you are selling clearly is not needed in the market, but you're still, hanging on. Unasikiza sisi, unajua motivational speakers like us. Hang on, don't give up, don't. My friend, you still have to. You're the one who is there, And I am a motivational speaker, by the way. If I was to motivate you, I'll motivate you. Utakaa hapo.
Yes.
But you're the one who is on the ground. You know what works, what is working, and what is not. I mean, you know what needs to change in the business.
Yes.
If it is a product line that needs to change, then change it. If it is a location that whatever it is, that whatever adjustments you need to do, you will do those adjustments. So know when to sort of review, know when to close, and do something else. I mean, for example, I'll tell you, the time I knew for sure this forex thing is not working for me, I lost 1.7 million one day, one single day, as in tap kitu ikapotea. Trump, I don't know what Trump put out a tweet. And with Trump, with the global markets, he would put out a tweet and the market would come tumbling. Yes. That's exactly what happened to me. Trump put in a series of two tweets, danda kitu ilipotea kwa macho tu. Another day I was trading, and then news around Brexit came tumbling down. Of course, I admit, for people who are listening to me and they're in the forex trade, I admit I was a wrong I was a wrong trader in terms of the way I manage my risks. Yes. So I do not at any point ever demonize forex trading. I know it works for people. For people who have been it, I know it works for them. So it's their hustle. Yes. And they do well. Those that do well. Yeah. For me, it wasn't mine. So I needed to say, it is not working. The day I lost that 1.7 million, nienda kwa bedroom, nikasema, Lucy, kaa hapa, Mugu, kaa hapa.
Pen and paper.
Let us now talk. No, I was talking to God.
Yeah.
and I talked, tukaongea na Mungu, nikamwambia shuka chini tafadhali, sitaki ukae juu. Kaa hapa.
You need to come.
We talk umundu kwa mundu. I tell you my things, you know, because hii kitu hii bwana, hii kitu tumecheza, haichezeki.
Yes.
And I was done with it. Know when to stop. Know when to stop. Otherwise you can put in until you have nothing left. You can put in and just run into a crisis of debt and you have nothing left. So really that's some of the mistakes that relate to businesses, and I'm sure people who are in the entrepreneurship sector, they have many more mistakes that they can talk about, but for today those are the ones I mean for me, the ones that I have experienced. And as we said in the beginning, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and forgive others as well. I mean, for me, for because I keep saying, on my Damascus, I was both broke and broken.
And angry.
I was broken. I was broken. Broken because of that forex maneno and the scam and everything that happened around that whole biashara, that whole situation. I had no grace in church. I was a leader in church. I was the chair of the Catholic Women Association. I was the vice chair of the church. I was judged. I had no place to go. My neighbors, my friends, the only solid rock that I had with me was my family. You know, my husband would hold me like this and tell me, it shall be well. That's the only place that I found the solace. Now, so sometimes it is easy to get broken and to be depressed. But you have to get out of it, and you have to just say, you know what? In Comoros we say riff. No, riff, you know that. Riff yourself and ask yourself, what was your name? You know, that's the Comoros Island. That's what we say. Riff yourself. Once you arise and decide, you know what? Okay, I have looked back, and we always say that if you have to pick back, only pick back to pick the lessons. Don't pick back so that you can feel the depressing feelings that go with that situation. Because I'm telling you, loss of money can be very, very depressing. It can be very depressing. You have judgment, you have regret, you have shock, you have anger, all those things in one human being. In one human being, my friend, it is tough. So you have to just give yourself the grace. Forgive yourself, and if of course people messed you up, forgive them. Because if you don't, you will never move on. For me, the reason how I was able to actually arise after all those mistakes is to say, you know what, I forgive myself and I forgive others, and I am ready to go and close that chapter and move on and ask myself, what can I learn from it? What can I do, and what do I learn from it? And that's how I even decided I'm going to write a book, lest I forget, but also mostly fundamentally that I can be able to be a voice for others to learn from my messes and my mistakes. So that, I mean, today we are having this show and we are talking because I forgive, and I forgive myself and I forgive others, you know. So I bubble with joy, with the inner joy, because now with that joy I can do what I need to do. Reinvent yourself. I had to reinvent myself. I wrote my book. I also became a coach. So reinvent yourself. Don't just get stuck. Mistakes za pesa ni sawa. Hata kama uliko huko 50, 60, sawa. It happens. It happens. I mean, you know, it's what we say, S happens. You know, ST happens. Get out.
You know, when you were speaking about how in your 47 is when you know, in your 40s is when you wake up. And you think about, hey, I haven't done so much and time has gone. But there are people who also wake up during that time and they find out they haven't done anything, but they get depressed. They are unable to unstuck themselves from, you know, what they're going through. What would be your advice to them?
Get a coach. Come to me, all ye that are laden, all ye that are burdened, and I will give you rest. I mean, the thing is, sometimes when you work alone, when you are in that depressed state and you don't know what to do, it's good to speak to somebody. Own up, because if you don't own up, and you know, a lot of times we have this thing of concealing what we are going through. Now that concealing what you're going through, it just eats you up. It eats you up. Nobody knows. Your family doesn't know. Do you know there are people who even their own families don't know what they are going through? First, because they fear that they will be judged. And so if you fear that maybe your family space is not the safest space, then find another safe space sort of talk things out, talk about it, be ready to sometimes use money to be able to come out of that crisis, because sometimes you might need to hire a counselor, sometimes you might need to hire a coach, because coaches are not cheap either.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I had to also hire coaches for me to, you know, to get out of my situation, so that then I can be guided and I can, you know what to do. So the thing is, don't get stuck and stay in your mistakes. Rise up. Get somebody, let that person journey with you, and you can bounce back. In fact, I even have a course, I call it financial bounce back, you know, where you sort of get the course online, you go sit with it, unasikiza vile mambo ile ninaongelelea huko, then you sort of do the things that I sort of recommend that you do.
Yeah.
And especially if you already have an income, and your situation is like, now I want to reinvent my wheel and reorganize my life with money, then it's easy. I mean, it's much more difficult when you don't have an income. That's a worse challenge.
Yeah.
But even when you don't have that income, it's still unaamuka tu. You know, one day I'll tell you, when I was younger, when I just completed university, I had, of course, we had a baby. We got a baby in campus, so we had nothing. We used to rely on help. Now, university measure hakuna help. My friend, there is no help, and there is a baby here.
Yes.
And there is no work.
Yeah.
There is what to do. I borrowed money. I borrowed 1,000 bob. And me and my husband started a milk bar. Kuuza maziwa. Hey, please, go borrow somewhere. Start something. Kuku, chavashi. Start something.
Yeah.
Do something. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck, and don't stay in your house stuck and depressed and everything. Come out and, you know, do something.
Yeah.
If you have income, you can reshape how you organize your money.
Yeah.
Of course, I know next week we'll be talking about the forms of money.
Yeah.
But for today, we were talking about the mistakes. But of course, there are also other mistakes. The investment related mistakes. My friend, people are suffering in this town. Guy, you know, like where you have a white elephant, people construct things, and then haziishi. You know, you've taken a loan, a bank loan.
Yeah.
You have come. Your architect and your engineer told you, Ikitu, this thing is going to cost 10 million.
Yes.
Hi, 10 million, sawa. Go get your 10 million. The thing swallows. By the time the 10 million has swallowed, you haven't finished.
Oh.
You have a debt
that you need
the
to repay.
thing is white elephant over there. You can't sell it. You can't do nothing. Those people get depressed.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it's also another mistake. I mean, just that underestimation and not
you know, knowing the cost.
Yeah.
Of your
not knowing the cost, and sometimes, you know, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
How things happen with respect to investment.
What do you think? Now that we have learned some of the mistakes we've done, and we've said that we need to start, what would be your last message to people about money?
There is still one thing that it would be useful to speak about, because I know it is something that is there all over the place, and I keep talking about the money that is stuck in chamas. You know, we have all these chamas that we put in money, but if you ask somebody, okay, if you are to liquidate the money in your chama, do you even know how much it is? Do you even know whether it will even come out?
Yes.
Ama ni ile hole tu inaingia tu pesa. I mean, so those are other things, and even the spiritual related mistakes,
yes.
Money mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had lots of scams, you know, related to, you know,
spirituality.
Miracle, sijui what, plant a seed, do. I mean, we have had all those. The point is, when God gives you the opportunity to make the money, please guard it. Please be a good steward of that money. Be a good steward, because if you're not a good steward, money is very unforgiving. It's like, you know, that Wangari Maathai is saying that nature is very unforgiving.
Yes.
Money is equally very unforgiving. You don't treat it well, you don't respect it, you don't use it, I mean, manage and multiply it and do what needs to happen with money. You'll become a disgrace. You and in your later years, people in this country, we hardly ever think about our retirement. And by the way, when I talk about retirement, I'm not talking about that time when you just go and watch the sun. In fact, I am not even an advocate of watching the sun.
Yes.
Because in any case, you can find other things that you can still do, that you can still remain productive.
Yes.
But either way, well, if you're in employment, there will come that time when you will be told enough. Enough, by the way, go. Yeah. Please. Kwanza wanakukumbushanga kwa those who work in those civil servants, they are normally reminded up kwa payslip, your retirement date is your day. So for people who are in employment, a day is coming when you can no longer be employed. For people who are in business, if you, of course, you are in the SME sector, a lot of times, unless you're really growing your business so that your business can outlive you and become a legacy business where it's a big business. For the most part, if I ask you, when you were growing up, that kiosk that was where you were, if you go there, is it still there? The answer is no. So for the most part, a lot of people in the SME sector, they work, they do the business, but at some point they close the business. For the most part. So unless I think you need to really think about, yes, I am in the SME space, but how do I build a business that outlives and continues to grow and become strong? Otherwise, if you have not been thinking about that, if you're running a small business that wacha tutukule leo kesho, this thing of kesho itajiriria. Kesho itajiriria. Money does not know those things.
Yes.
It doesn't. And money has ears. Whatever you tell it, it's what it will do. Yeah. But I think from where we began by forgive yourself.
Yes.
Forgive others, forgive yourself, rise, keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's forgive ourselves from the mistakes that we made and forgive others, and then we can be able to grow.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Thank you for coming. I can see an amazing book there. I don't know.
Yes. This is my book.
Yes.
It's called The Unbeatable Spirit. It's my life's journey, and it documents those financial mistakes that I have done and other things that, of course, encourage those that read it.
Yeah.
So this book, I had brought a copy for you. So
oh, really?
I'll do an autograph for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
So this book is an interesting book, and I encourage people to read it. And I know Kenyans don't like reading. Kenyans hawataki kusoma. In fact, when they ask me, where can we find the book, and I tell them it's in some place in a bookshop, they just say, sasa hiyo hapana. So what have I done? I have made it even easier for you. What you need to do is go to lucigithaiga.com. If you go to lucigithaiga.com, I have actually put the book there. So you just need to, in a few days, you can be able to sort of read it online kama Amazon. Najua tunaenda ukiambia Kenyans Amazon wanasema ile ya kadi hawataki hiyo, wanataka mahali watatuma M-Pesa. So it is just responding to the customers. If the customers want to read a book and they want to be my M-Pesa, give them that. Let them do. So they can read just so that they sort of decipher the lessons that are in here. I write a lot, and I also encourage people to follow me on social media. I do a lot of, every day I throw in something around money on my Facebook. It goes by the same name, Lucy Githaiga. Whether it's my page, it's Lucy Githaiga. Whether it's my wall, it's Lucy Githaiga. That's where I'm going. My website is also Lucy Githaiga. It's a sales website. You have the course there, you have my book there, and many other things that will be coming up in due course.
All right.
Yes.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you also, you who have been with us from the beginning.